Hey, what's up, everyone? Entertainment Crew's back, and previously we had reviewed Chapter 9 of The Mandalorian, and now we're going to be reviewing all the rest of the chapters, 10 through 16. Now, why we decided to wait is due to the fact that we just wanted to bunch it up all together and kind of reviewed all as a whole. So let's get into Chapter 10. So what would you rate Chapter 10, Shad, and what do you think of it overall as an episode?
So in chapter 10, there was the ice planet, the spiders and stuff. I thought it was interesting to see a new planet. It's pretty much like a more mountainous version of Hoth, but it's still pretty interesting. Seeing new environments and the spiders. We got a new creature too. It was pretty interesting to see them. Although the episode as a whole, like the purpose of it, I don't really get. But I mean, I don't really have anything, too bad to say about it, other than that it doesn't really have a clear purpose. It doesn't have a place. It feels kind of overshadowed because you look at all the rest of these episodes from season 2, most of them are pretty big. Like Ahsoka pops up in one of them, Bo-Katan, Luke, and guess what? What did we get in this episode? We just get a bunch of spiders. All right, it feels a little bit overshadowed by the rest of the season, but I wouldn't say it's bad. Uh, you know, new creatures, new planets. So overall, 6 out of 10. I think it's a 6 out of 10. It's good, but it's alright. It's nothing special.
I'd have to go a little bit lower and say 5 out of 10. Very average meh episode. I think that this was, again, I mean, you could call it a filler. It was basically getting from point A to point B, and I don't really care because they were basically going from the planet he was from over to this new planet to get the fish, weird toad-like creatures and their babies back to their family. We didn't need to see any of that. I thought it was meaningless. It was okay to see. 5 out of 10. Anyways,
moving on to chapter 11, the one where basically the episode where Bo-Katan is introduced and stuff. What do you think of the episode, and what would you rate it, Luke?
Honestly, I think this was a very good episode. I think it was the favorite one so far when I watched it compared to 9 and 10. I was shocked that we saw Bo-Katan. I thought their armor was very sleek and cool. And overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10. One of the better episodes in the season for sure. Definitely holds up in consistency. And again, I didn't think that they were going to bring Bo-Katan back. And now that she is back, she's a very nice addition to the show. What do you think?
Like you said about the armor, I agree with that. The armor looks really nice. I never expected him to do it that well. Like the details and everything, every little detail from the Clone Wars armor of Bo-Katan is transported to the live action. And the fight scenes were also awesome. It's nice to see these 4 Mandalorians just beating the crap out of these stormtroopers. And there was a scene where Bo-Katan was talking about, how Din Djarin was a, kind of more of an extreme follower of the Mandalorian rules. I like to see that there's different interpretations of, the Mandalorian code.
Basically, different interpretations of religion.
Yeah, basically. I agree. I mean, Catholics and Protestants are Christians, but there's different types of Christians. So it's nice to see that it's kind of realistic in that way. If I would rate it, I would say it's a 9 out of 10. It's a definitely well done episode, and when I first saw it, I was kind of stunned by the reveal and everything. So chapter 12. We just did 11. This is the episode
where Din Djarin goes back and sees his former friends from season 1, and then we get Fish Face again, flashback from episode 1, and they kind of go to they're trying to take back their planet. And I thought it was a pretty alright episode. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It was one of the more overshadowed episodes, Ahsoka, Luke, all those kind of overshadowed this episode. I still thought it was a pretty alright, pretty decent episode, solid. There wasn't too much going on with this episode, but it was still interesting to see. How about you?
I agree. It's one of those, people say filler episodes, but it was even let's say for a filler episode, it is still a pretty good episode. All right, I'm especially fond of the chase scene where Cara Dune and the one dude that I forgot the name of again, they were getting chased by the stormtroopers, speeders, and everything. That was definitely well done. And like I said with the first episode, it is kind of second. It is kind of obscured by how like kind of shocking and how much big characters are revealed in the rest of the season. It's kind of obscured by it, but it is overall a good episode. So I would give it a 8 out of 10. Not great, but not bad either. All right.
Next is chapter 13, and I think this is one of the more shocking episodes where we get Ahsoka Tano back into the season and back into and now this is the first time we saw her in live action, and I think honestly I think they nailed it pretty well. I mean, you can't really get any better than that with what they did. I thought the horns were a little bit smaller, but I was doing my research. That's due to she moves around a lot. They'd have to have a big headpiece on her head, and that wouldn't really work out. But other than that, I mean, she does look like a Ahsoka Tano. I didn't know. I was a little bit skeptical at first because seeing her always in animated I was like, this might be weird, but I actually like it. And of course, we're getting the show with her. The episode itself, I would give a 9.5 out of 10. Overall, very, very good. Not perfect, but still very good. And I enjoyed it. All right, and we got to see more about Grogu. And I like the hints of, she was talking about Anakin. You know, we get a little bit of prequel stuff in there. I like that. So, yeah, 9.5 out of 10.
One thing I really don't find a lot of people talking about is new planet we got in this episode. I really am a fan of New Planet because it's very, it fit the theme of the episode. It was very dreary, very, very dreary. And, it gave you kind of a darker mood for the episode, which I think the episode was a little bit darker than the other ones. And the action was good. Ahsoka was in the beginning when she was slowly picking off these, not stormtroopers, but the mercenaries or whatever, and she was slowly picking them off when they're wondering where she was hiding in the trees or whatever. That was really good. It showed how powerful she is, and the look of her lightsabers, her white lightsabers, looked super cool. Yeah, it looked like we've never seen that color lightsabers before in live action, so it's really cool to see it. Overall, I think they did this episode almost as perfectly as they could. Action's good, the look is good. They did almost everything perfectly, so I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Wow, all right, first time at 10 so far. Next we have chapter 14, and this is where Boba Fett's introduced. It's back to back. We get Ahsoka, then we get Boba. It's crazy, all right? And I would give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was definitely one of the better episodes as well. The action was great. We got to see, honestly, one thing that I found inconsistent is how Boba Fett in the original trilogy, he was badass, he was strong, but it almost seems like he's a lot stronger and he's older now. That's one thing I found a little bit inconsistent, which, I mean, you can overlook that obviously, but overall, this definitely set up the ending for, Grogu getting caught and everything. We find out more about, it was very interesting to see how when he touched the rock or stone or whatever, there's a force field or something. There's new stuff with the force we're discovering, so it's very good. All right, 8.5 out of 10.
All right, so chapter
14.
14, all right. Chapter 14, this is the episode where Boba Fett first shows up. The Boba scenes, his fight scenes were incredible, man. Probably the best fight scenes in this entire show. It really showed how strong he was, showed how, maybe he got better when he aged. Because like you said, he didn't really seem to be that formidable in terms of, fighting when in the original trilogy. But for some reason now he's super good. But maybe we just didn't see that. So this is the first time the child is captured. So it does leave you wanting more of what's gonna happen. It leaves you on edge basically because you don't know what's gonna happen to the child, if Mandalorian's gonna save him or not. So, and also the Dark Troopers, it is I think the Dark Troopers are really interesting. I do think they're a little OP, but we're gonna get later on. We're gonna get into that later on in the chapter 16. So chapter 15. This is the one with Mayfeld, where he goes to the Imperial
They go
compound.
undercover. Yep.
This in disguise. I enjoyed the seeing how similar in the beginning they were in the work camp that Mayfeld was in. I
Yep.
enjoyed how similar it looked to the one from Rogue One because it kind of shows how New Republic Empire. I mean they're not like completely good and evil. Like they all have their gray areas. So
Right.
it
Right.
doesn't really they don't really show the New Republic as completely saintly or angelic. But I like Mayfeld's character. He's pretty likable, like especially when he was with Din Djarin because they have a pretty good
Dynamic.
yeah, they're really good dynamic. You're right. And the driving scenes, and I like how in this episode Din Djarin was kind of tested by he has to take off his mask. Well, his mask. Well, it's not his mask, but his helmet, because he has to break the Mandalorian code because he has to get the coordinates. And one last thing, the Imperial officer was super intimidating. Like he was probably the second best thing about next to Mayfeld in this episode. So, what do you think of episode 15?
Well, chapter 15 was my favorite episode in the whole season. I would have to say 10 out of 10 is the rating. What rating did you give it?
Same thing.
All right, yeah, I thought it was great. Mayfield, honestly, best side character in my opinion so far. I think he was great. Well, original side character, excluding from the oldies like Ahsoka and Luke. Again, yeah, he was very likable. I liked his personality. Great dynamic between Din Djarin and him, and how he kind of was like questioning like, how far are you willing to go? I mean, you're not even wearing your helmet anymore. What do you this isn't even your helmet. What are you doing? So yeah, he was very realistic in that certain type of sense. And I don't know, the feeling of them being undercover and working with the Empire for a little bit and I like that. That is very original, and I don't think we've really seen much of that. Definitely not in live action. So yeah, best episode in the season. All right, chapter 15. Anyways, moving on into 16. All right, there's spoilers. All right, if you guys haven't seen it, but Luke freaking Skywalker.
Well, I already said it earlier, but go on.
So we got to see Luke Skywalker. We got to see a lot of interesting things in this episode. I thought the first part of it was a little bit like I was wondering what's going on. What are they going to pull off? This is the ending. This is the big final. What's going to happen? I thought those Death Troopers. Din Djarin is very powerful, all right, and we have versus videos on. He's very powerful, and yet he could barely take out one, all right. And there was if they're so powerful, why didn't the Empire have more? You know what I mean? Like, and how did they become so powerful? That's a little bit inconsistent to me, but
yeah.
Other than that, but then it shows the full scale of how Din Djarin Luke wouldn't even like if they're a fight, he would lose instantly. Like showing about how Luke rolled all those Death Troopers and Din Djarin could barely beat one. That shows how strong Luke is, and this is his prime, dude. Like I never thought we were gonna see Luke in his prime. And you may say, oh, we're Return of the Jedi. He wasn't in his prime yet. He was just getting into a Jedi Master, So I thought that was good. 9.5 out of 10. Nearly perfect episode, man. Great ending.
Yeah.
How about you?
It definitely picks up towards the end. The way they got in with the Imperial ship, with the Lambda class cruise, the thing, whatever, I forgot the name, but the one that Palpatine rode, like they got in using that. It seems kind of cliche to me. Like it happens, like you said, like Rebels. It happens in every single thing. Like they use the ship, and then I'm surprised that Gideon wasn't smart enough to think that they would do that.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
It's overdone, all right. But towards the end, it definitely gets a lot better with the Moff Gideon baiting him. I like that because it showed how kind of ruthless he is. Like I actually kind of believed him too. Like in that moment, I was like, yeah, I believe him. Maybe he is gonna let him go. But then guess what? Boom. Luke's entrance when he kind of saved Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and the rest of them. That was extremely satisfying because I was like, wait, I was wondering who it was, and it was super intense because obviously they're about to get killed, and then boom, he pops up, and the build up to it's good, and obviously, I think this video is definitely stands out throughout season 2. It's definitely, for me at least, a 10 out of 10.
All right. And so now that we've rated all these and kind of talked about all the chapters as a whole, what would you rate the season overall with all the episodes?
I would rate it a 9 out of 10 because it's definitely it picks up. Obviously, season 1 isn't going to be as good because it just basically introduces the characters and stuff. But season 2, I think they did an awesome job with it. Nearly, I wouldn't change much if I could. So 9 out of 10.
Honestly, I would have to agree. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. There's not really much errors you can find with this. There's a few episodes here then that are a little bit lower than the rest, but overall, as I was rating all these, they seem very consistent, all right?
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, if you like that, please comment down below what you think of each episode. Which one's your favorite? What would you rate the show as a whole? And with that being said,
this is Entertainment Crew signing out.
out.